Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Annie Novotny, Client Services Coordinator for the Women's Resource Center. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is my pleasure to introduce you to today's presenter, a nominated Wonder Woman, Ray Dowling, who will be speaking to us about caregiving, the great balancing act. What does it mean to be a caregiver? Ray will discuss how women often take on the role of caregiver and the stress that comes along with this responsibility. How we must have patience, perseverance, forgiveness of ourselves, and learn to roll with the punches. All lines are muted, but feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box below, and we will try to answer them at the end. Over to you, Ray.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to the Women's Resource Center for being chosen as one of the Wonder Women for 2020. It's a crazy and different world that we've lived in and been a part of this year, but I'm just proud and do appreciate the recognition. Thank you so much. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about caregiving. It's not going to be super long, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to put anything in the chat for sure. And I must give a caveat here in that I am not a professional caregiver. Like most of us, we really aren't professionals, but we do it each and every day. Just a little bit of my background. I do work for Florida Power and Light, getting ready to retire next summer, but I had three children that are all grown now. Of course, I did have a husband, no longer, and I had my mother-in-law living with me during the majority of my work years. So there's all kinds of things that go along with that for sure. Again, it doesn't qualify me as a professional, but have had some experience and I will say have been fairly successful at Florida Power and Light. So I've been able to balance all of it, if you will. I'm going to share my screen here and just have a couple of slides that we're going to go through. I'm on an iPad, so you'll see things that are different than what you would be on a computer, but that's okay. Let me go here, let me go here. So every so often, McKinsey & Company does a survey and does a study with regards to women in the workplace, and they update it from time to time. And this year they put out the results of their 2020 workplace study. So, and you can go to mckinsey.com to find it, and I put the reference down there at the bottom. But just a couple of things from that study is that the pandemic, as we know, has really disrupted the workplace, and things that we never thought that we would see, do, act, be a part of. But here we are living it. And if anything, this pandemic has told us or shown us or provided us the opportunity to the years down the road, we will say, well, we lived through that pandemic and we figured it out for sure. And one of the biggest things, which is, again, should not be a surprise, that the employees are worried about their finances, their family health, all kinds of different things. The challenges that women already face in the workplace, whatever they were before the pandemic, have really intensified with this health crisis that we're going through. We know, as in the past, but it certainly is not any different now, that women do much more housework, childcare than men. And that our support systems, such as schools or daycare, even grandparents, have been severely limited. Schools, obviously, we all know, did close earlier. They're open now. We became teachers as well as caregivers, and everything else that we did. Daycares may or may not be open as many hours as they had in the past. So as you try to work, you may have your kids around you, and although you may have been able to count on grandparents or extended family in the past, grandparents obviously are part of the the vulnerable group, so you may not have access to them like we've had in the past. More difficult, it's really much more difficult to have that work-life balance that we always strove for in the past and continue to. One interesting fact too is that mothers are more than 3 times as likely as fathers to be responsible for most of the housework and caregiving during the pandemic. And they're 1.5 times more likely than fathers to be spending additional 3 or more hours per day on housework and childcare, in addition to their regular life and what they were doing. One quote that I read in the study was from a woman with 2 small children, and she was a VP of a business. I feel like I'm failing at everything. I'm failing at work. I'm failing at my duties as a mom. I'm failing at every single way because I think we're being asked to do what we're being asked to do is nearly impossible. Just feeling really defeated. How can you continue to perform at the same level as in the office when you had no distractions, plus being asked to basically become a teacher for kids and everything else with online learning? I'm doing it all, but at the same time, I'm feeling like I'm not doing any of it very well. I also worry that my performance is being judged because I'm caring for my children. If I step away from my virtual desk and I miss a call, are they going to wonder where I am? I feel like I need to always be on and ready to respond instantly to whatever comes in. And if that's not happening, that's going to reflect poorly on my performance. Part of that I saw too is that there's a lot of things that the world, maybe our employers could do for us, maybe relax the review standards that we've had, give us more time, things like that. But regardless, with whatever anybody else does or what we think they should do, we have to figure out how to work in this new environment and be a caregiver and be there for the things that we know is that we want and need to do. So how do I cope? What do I do? And what did I do as I was raising my family and moving through the work world in the past? So first and foremost, you have to take care of yourself. You know, that was one of the things that I did I always tried to do my best. And that was my best according to me and my family. It wasn't according to somebody else's preconceived ideas of what your best is. It's not going to be perfect. As my kids were growing up, and this is just one example that we had to give up as a family, was having a pet. You know, I had 3 kids, one of which was a special needs child, and a mother-in-law and a family and all of the activities that kids want to do, plus a job that was oftentimes high stress or very intense. And we just didn't, I knew that if we had an animal, a dog, whatever, that I was probably going to be the one that was taking care of it most of the time, as the moms typically do. So, you know, we just didn't have one. And you know what? My kids lived. It was okay. They enjoyed other people's animals and things like that. So that's just an example of things. Also too, if you do activities, whether it's baking or watching movies, include those who you are caregiving for with those activities. Sometimes it may be a little bit more stressful for you, but you know, maybe you can work that through. I know at Christmas times I would involve my kids, not only for them to learn, but because I enjoyed it and then they got something out of it along with me. Another thing that you can do is find community, connect with others, you know, mothers, whether it's mothers groups or just talking to your coworkers. Again, it's a little bit difficult in this environment, but maybe there's some opportunities there. There is also online help, caregiving.com, and other organizations, including the Women's Resource Center. Reach out for those resources in the event that you need to or want to. And first and foremost, how I coped was to just enjoy it. It doesn't last forever, especially as my kids got older into high school. I knew this was going to be the, whether it was 9th, 10th, 11th, and even their senior years, this is the last time that they will be involved in a sports activity, whatever. This is going to be the last time that they're going to do it. So I just really enjoyed it. And that was the time at work where, I didn't do everything that I normally would do. And the other thing is too, now that I don't have all of those responsibilities at home, I look for ways that I can help others. And some people just need somebody to talk to. They may need actually somebody to help do some yard work or do some grocery shopping, or maybe bring in a meal, something like that. And it's one of those things where you don't ask what they need. If you see something that they could be helped with, just do it. They will be appreciative of it. And the other thing is just to listen to people, and be a listener, if you will, to whatever they're going through, and being empathetic with it. I'm going to take off these, just quit sharing my screen here and just talk a little bit now. So, being a caregiver in this world is just certainly a crazy, crazy time. But one of the things that, that I always said too, was just to try to plain be positive. Again, I talked earlier about it. It doesn't last forever, and to enjoy the ride. It's amazing that, again, now that I don't have those responsibilities, how you really miss the craziness of it all. That's for sure. It doesn't, things as you're going through it too. Even with my special needs son, that was what was normal, whatever it was that we were going through with him, that was normal for us. And there was a lot of people in a lot worse situation than we were. And I never said anything like, or really didn't let thoughts creep into my mind that, oh, poor pitiful me, or that, I didn't try to be the one with the worst situation, if you will, or, oh gosh, how am I ever going to get through this? Yeah, maybe sometimes you slip a little bit, but I think the biggest thing with regards to being a caregiver and understanding it is just to, again, going back to being positive, enjoy it, make the best of it. And if you screwed up something, or you didn't like the way you did it today, tomorrow you've got another chance at doing it a way that you might want to improve in the future. But that's just a little bit about caregiving and kind of my take on it, and my perspective. It is forever. And as life wanes down, with whether it's kids or things like that, like I said earlier too, there's always others that can use your help. And so volunteering for organizations where busy moms may not be able to be right there and do all the volunteering, now is the time for us to be the volunteers. Just some other thoughts as you move through this. So I know that wasn't super long, and certainly nothing earth-shattering or world-changing in any of that. But again, my perspective, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Ray. What a wonderful presentation. And we do have some questions coming in. So the first question we have is, how do you prioritize your responsibilities?
How do you prioritize your responsibilities?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sometimes my throat gets kind of crazy when I've been talking like that. So let me just take a drink quick.
No problem.
I think you have to just look at today, if you've been spending a lot of time with the kids, maybe it's time for them to take a second seat. And if you've got a really big project at the office, maybe that's the time that has to move into the forefront. I know I've worked on some projects that were multi-year projects, but had huge implications down the road. And there was milestones along the way. So I would maybe prioritize that particular project at that particular point in time ahead of what my kids had to do. There was, there's certain things that you're just not going to waver on. If the kids have a doctor's appointment and you got to take them to the doctor's appointment, or if their kids are sick, they are the first priority. That's absolutely sure. And it's going to change day in and day out. And again, I think you got to go back to, don't beat yourself up that you couldn't be at the office on that particular day because you had to do something with your kids, or that and sometimes, so I think you just have to forgive yourself and just keep moving and remind yourself that you're doing the best you can with what you have and what you know at that particular point in time.
Beautifully said. Next question I have is, how do you set boundaries with others in order to find balance?
For me, and I said it before, you can't worry about what other people say or think. And I think that's just a motto of mine in life too. They're responding to what's going on in their life, and they're maybe projecting onto you something that they would rather be doing themselves. You have to you've got to do what's right for you and your family. They are the most important. And part of that is maybe a job that you need to keep. And that's okay, because I know some people might have thought that, wow, Ray, why is she still working? She has a special needs son at home and she should be taking care of him. Well, in my mind, I needed to be able to make sure he had insurance to be able to take care of him. So I stayed with my job and worked out everything else around that. And not only that, but with a special needs child, we've always felt like we needed to provide him the most normal environment possible. And kids every day go to daycare, go to school, and that is normal for kids in general. So we prioritized that for him and our other kids as well, and tried to not make it such that anything was different in our family. Yes, Benjamin was different, but our family was normal, and we lived life like everyone else. So he was taken places. We did things that we could with him. There were certain things we couldn't do, but we enjoy everything up to the point where it was possible to be able to do. And those other things, well, whether it's taking him on Space Mountain at Disney World, probably not the smartest things to be able to do. So he didn't go on Space Mountain. Okay. But we enjoyed the other things at Disney World. So, and again, that's okay. You got to do what's right for you and not worry about what other people's put on your plate for you.
Exactly. And the last question I have here is, what is your best self-care tip?
My best self-care tip is just repeating to myself that I am doing the best I can. Plain and simple. Everybody has different limits to what they can do. And as long as I feel like, and I understand that I am doing the best that I can, then that is what that's what takes care of me.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
You're so welcome.
We must first take care of ourselves in order to take care of others, and to always remember to be kind to ourselves. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you attend our future webinars and workshops. Have a great day, and thank you so much again, Ray.
Thank you so much.